We all know that we are in this world for 2 days only and must live without prior notice. But this mind does not want to accept death as the eternal truth. Someone or the other is often passing away before our eyes. But sitting alone, we never think that I too will have to pass away, that I too will be burned to ashes in a fire or buried. All day and night, we are running in the race after unknown happiness, just running, no matter how much joy or peace we get. We are just running. Our desires and greed are skyrocketing, dragging our tired bodies and covering our faces with cheap makeup. In front of loved ones, we tell them with a smile, I am fine. But this heart feels that I am not well. We are not well. Emptiness has surrounded us, and depression and anxiety are gathering in the mind day and night. Then, is there no fixed address or criteria for eternal happiness and peace? The answer is yes. But 99% of people in this world do not know that. Friends, please listen carefully to the end of today's story of this Buddhist monk. You will find the right direction of happiness and peace in your life. From today, you will never feel unhappy. You will be at peace forever. Once upon a time, there lived a young man named Suihan in the village of Ulasas in the Watai mountains of China. He was spending his days happily with his family. Suihan was a renowned garment business owner. In a short period of time in his own business, Suihan gained a lot of profit and reputation. As the saying goes, this cycle of life does not run in the same route. In a sudden earthquake, his beloved wife, only son, and parents died. The only house was destroyed in front of his eyes. Only Suihan survived with serious injuries. 4 months passed since the earthquake, and Suihan still hadn't returned to normal life. He was spending days in the Great Depression and anxiety, losing his business, income, and entire family. He was drowning in alcohol night and day. Suihan wished for his own death day and night. He raised both hands towards the sky and prayed, "O God, give me death. I don't want to live anymore." One rainy evening, while intoxicated, Suihan found no point in living like that and decided he would commit suicide by jumping off a mountain into a turbulent river. Remembering the memories of his beloved wife, son, and parents, Suihan was sitting alone on a lonely mountain, crying and shouting, "This life is eternally sad. There is no one to call me father. My parents I don't know how much you suffered and breathed your last. My dear wife, how could I forget you? At that time, a group of Buddhist monks was returning through the narrow path up the mountain. They heard Suihan's cry and ran there. By the time Suihan had reached the very end of the mountain to commit suicide, Buddhist monks grabbed Suihan and asked, "Why are you going to end your beautiful life?" Suihan stopped crying after a long time and said, "My life is not beautiful in any way. I am already a dead person due to grief. I am done with all the desires of this life. This life is worthless to me. I can no longer bear the pain and suffering. Please let me go. I will commit suicide." The chief monk said, "It's your mistake. This life is very beautiful. This life is eternally happy and peaceful. Please come with us to the ashram. We will give you the quest for eternal bliss." Suihan went to the ashram with the Buddhist monks, partly out of faith and partly out of compulsion. Suihan did not sleep that night. He was sitting quietly in a corner of the cottage. As soon as he stepped out of the cottage, in the first light of the morning sun, he saw about 100 Buddhist monks meditating with their eyes closed. Each of them was calm and gentle, and each of them had a strangely beautiful calmness in their faces. Suihan spent hours watching the Buddhist monks engrossed in the meditation. At the end of the meditation, the head monk of the ashram called Suihan to him and said, "O young man, sit quietly. Today, this beautiful morning and this beautiful day is a gift to you. This life is eternally beautiful." Hearing Gurudev's words, Suihan got a little angry and said, "Gurudev, I have been hearing since yesterday that this life is beautiful. Are you kidding me? I have lost my wife, son, family, and home, and I am living a hellish life. I am burning with pain and suffering, and you say this life is beautiful?" Gurudev smiled gently and said, "O young man, we make our own lives hell just by misleading thoughts. Only by changing our thinking can we make our life beautiful and peaceful. Don't you want your life to be peaceful forever?" Suihan fell silent this time and said, "Yes, Gurudev, I want a peaceful life." Gurudev said, "Then from today you will do the simple things that I tell you to do." Suihan nodded and agreed. Gurudev said, "Your first task is to look only at the sky and think only about yourself for the next 3 days. Sitting on the northern hill, a little away from the ashram, don't forget to look only at the sky and don't think about anyone but yourself." Suihan bowed in agreement and left. Suihan sat on the hill and looked at the sky But he couldn't calm down at all. Still, he kept looking at the sky with a bit of force. But he failed again and again, despite his efforts. He thought again and again of the happy days spent with his lost parents, wife, and son. The first day passed. At dawn on the second day, he again sat on the hill, looking at the morning sky. He was fascinated to see the sunrise. He thought, how long had he not seen the sky, not mingled with nature's own tune? The time had passed to run after happiness for the family only. Today, he was tired of the race to fulfill the extra needs and desires of life. Looking at the sky, his eyes closed in fascination. He now began to feel his body, his life, and his breath. Hours passed like days. The second day was over. The next day, after a long time, Suhan felt calm. On the third day, Suhan sat on the hill and unconsciously meditated. He felt a strange peace. It felt good to drown deeper and deeper in himself. He hoped the obsession with that natural bliss of meditation should never end. On the fourth day, Suhan bowed down and stood before Gurudev. Gurudev said, "O young man, how do you feel now?" Suhan said, "Gurudev, I don't know why I feel like even today I go to the hills and just look at the sky and close my eyes and sink into myself. I feel much calmer than before." Gurudev smiled softly and said, "Dear Suhan, for the next 3 days, you will sit on that hill and close your eyes and listen only to the sound of the wind. That is all you have to do." Suhan bowed to Gurudev and left. The hillside was completely deserted. Sitting there with his eyes closed, he tried to listen to the sound of the wind, but no sound came to his ears. After keeping his eyes closed for a long time, he gradually felt that there was no sound of the wind, only the sound of his own breathing and heartbeat. Deeply listening to the sound of breath and exhalation, he drowned back into himself without even his knowledge. There was an eternal state of peace, none of his own thoughts, only immersion in the reservoir of life force. 3 days passed and Suhan came to Gurudev. Gurudev asked, "How did you like the sound of the wind?" Suhan replied, "Gurudev, I could not distinguish the sound of the wind, but for the last 3 days, I had the first feeling of life and vitality when I closed my eyes and listened to the sound of my breathing. And I also understood that this body is the reservoir of eternal life force." Gurudev said, "You are moving on the right path." Suhan said, "But Gurudev, at other times, my old memories lead me into the sea of sorrow. What is the solution?" Gurudev said, "Surely there is a solution. The path you have followed for the past 6 days is meditation. It is knowing oneself. These 6 days you were in the initial phase of the meditation. The more this meditation becomes refined, the more you will know yourself and your life force. There is no entanglement, no sadness, no grief, only the presence of joyful light. What we call grief and sorrow are all our thoughts and mental state. Everything in this world will perish one day. None of us are immortal, and you and I all will die one day. Death is the eternal truth of this world. There is no grief, no sorrow in death. Remember, you brought nothing with you into this world, nothing you can take with you when you leave. All that goes with you is the karma of your benevolence and good deeds. Immerse yourself in meditation. Only through meditation will know the purpose of this life, and you will be able to make this life peaceful without suffering. Now Suyan bowed down to Gurudev and said, "O Gurudev, you have opened my eyes. I want to meditate on the path shown by you and make this life peaceful forever. Bless me so that I may reach the ultimate path of meditation." Dear friends, write down what you learned from this story in the comment box. All the best. Thank you.